Waiting for the. Hey, we're live. Welcome, everyone, to the next installment of the fairy tale that is. Just kidding. This is the next installment of Happily Ever After, where I'm so fortunate to introduce you to some of our Relationships Done Different certified facilitators who are here to kind of like bust a few of the myths apart that we've been fed about relationships in this reality. And I'm so happy to introduce tonight's RDDCF, Miss Liliana Andrade. And see, I did it with my best Spanish accent. And tonight, welcome Liliana, and thank you so much for being here. And today's live, we're looking at the expectations that come with marriage, and just before a marriage, when you're married, like everything around that. So thank you so much for being here and for this amazing topic that I think is going to contribute a lot to a lot of people.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm so happy to be here. And this is a topic that I can talk about for hours because I think there are so many expectations around marriage. Like even before, when you are, for instance, a woman, even way before getting married, like the way you are expecting, like how it's going to be, how am I going to meet him, who is going to be, like we have all these expectations around it. And then all the expectations on how the wedding is going to be, how it has to be, like all the steps we have, like this kind of recipe and I'm Mexican, so I come from this very traditional Latin, full of telenovelas, and even the movies and the fairy tales and everything, all the lies, the information, the traditions that are fed to us on how you are supposed to get married. So for me, for instance, I remember I never dreamed of getting married. I'm kind of a weird one because I never dreamed of it. I never dreamed of the white dress, blah, blah, blah. So when I said I just want to leave the house, my parents' house, and live by myself, it was a scandal. Like, no, there's no way you can do that. And they didn't allow me. So I ended up escaping, literally escaping. Yeah. And then I received a silence treatment for years because I did that. Because the worst thing was that I was teaching my sisters that they could do it too. So, and I guess that's something that I love saying. Like if I'm here saying this and this opens up a possibility to someone else of, hey, there's a different way to do things. If they work for you, if that's what you choose, go ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, based on the tools of this specialty and access that is Relationships Done Different. And I mean, it says it all in the title, like everything is really about creating a relationship and relationships that work for you. I was talking a bit with Anna Maria off air before we started about like, imagine if you grew up in a household where these tools were actually the things that you were exposed to and shown from a young age, where not only were you shown a different possibility with, excuse me, the relationships that you were going to form with other people, but it really started with the relationship that you have with you.
Which is like a totally different story.
Yeah, because I mean, your parents obviously, well, I mean, not obviously, but maybe, or was it that they wanted you to get married because they thought that's what it would take for you to be taken care of? Like in the long run, their hearts were in the right place, essentially, because in their mind, it's like, well, if she leaves home and she has a man, he will take care of her. And then she doesn't need to worry about. So, essentially they're doing the best with the tools that they have available, but it's like, imagine the possibility.
But it was something totally out of the box too for them, right?
Yeah.
So, and for so many women, it's like they do have this dream of the white dress and the wedding day and how it's going to be and what's going to happen. And then in every movie, now things, I think, things are changing. But for a very long time, like the happy ending was the wedding.
Yep.
When in reality, it's just, it's the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the beginning. Yeah. And then you have every day the chance to create your happy ending. Like it's a never evolving, ever every day is evolving. Every day you are choosing it. Every single day you are building it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
there's not such a thing as a happy ending. We are always on the way to build it and choose
I
it.
love
And then it's like what happens when you already get married, and then you have more and more and more expectations coming up. Like, okay, now you are married. Then what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to be a good wife, a good husband? What is expected from you,
Yep.
from everyone, like everyone around you? And one of the expectations, for instance, is the financial aspect of the relationship. Who's the one who's supposed to have more money, and who's the one who's supposed to clean the house? Like, and maybe that's very like from the 60s, but it's still permeating in a lot of people even today.
Yeah. And so do you want to talk a little bit about, because I mean, I've met your husband, you've been married now, I don't even know how long, but you guys, to me, he seems like such a sweet man, and you guys seem to have this really nurturing and kind relationship with each other. Do you want to talk a little bit about like what you talked a bit about, the daily creation and it not ever being a final, like it's this always changing and evolving thing. Like, are there any tools or tips or tricks you can talk about with that, where you've maintained and even created greater around your relationship?
For me, the most important thing not the most important thing, because we have a lot of beautiful things in our relationship, but one of the things that I like the most is that I can be me when I am around him, and he can just be him. There's not really this expectation of me wanting him to be someone different and the other way around.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of freedom too. Like we always get this question of, how can you still be married and happy when he's traveling so much?
Yeah.
Because he travels a lot for his job. And they are like, I wouldn't make it if. And for me, it's like, you know what? I'm never alone. I'm never feeling like I'm alone.
Yeah.
And I don't need him to be here by my side all the time.
Yeah.
For me to know that we are together.
Yeah.
Like there's a really strong bond where even when he's not here, we are like in constant touch, and like I do feel like that he's there for me.
Yeah.
And he knows that I'm here for him. So there's this freedom of, you do you. He loves his job, so go ahead, do your job, and the other way around, he also supports me a lot. Like, that's what you like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Be you. So that's very, very important. And communication is another one. Like, we can talk about anything, and that's really cool too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Yeah. It's not hard, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, it must be like, but really, I think, like, from when you were talking then, it's like there's no need of each other there. Like, it's an appreciation, a gratitude, like a total just being grateful for that person, but not being like, I need you here with me to not feel alone or to feel fulfilled or something like that. So, and I think a lot of people don't actually get to know themselves to a degree where they're super happy to be alone. And I think a lot of people maybe get into a relationship for that reason. So they fulfill that need, and all of the things that they really could have and be with themselves, they try to put that on another person to fulfill that part of them.
And so many times in relationships, like from all the conversations I have with clients, with friends, so many times they choose relationship because they are afraid of not getting to be with someone else.
Uh-huh.
Like this sense of, I better keep this one on my side, because maybe otherwise I will end up alone.
Yeah, wow.
And
Right.
it's this fear and this need to be with someone, when what actually comes first is this joy of being with you.
Yeah.
This Yeah, it's this joy, this enjoyment of you, knowing that if you have you, you have everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. I remember, for many years I was sort of with my relationships would last like a year or a year and a half. And I remember Dane here one time, I just ended a relationship, and he's the co-creator of Access Consciousness, where all of these tools are coming from. And he said to me, Sarah, you just need to have a break from being in relationships. Like, you need to have at least a year to just be by yourself. And I was like, done. I'm going to do my homework. And it was a bit longer than that, actually. I think it was well over a year. And I was like, I'm going to really commit to not seeking a relationship, but seeking myself. And I think, and now I am in a relationship and have been for 3.5 years, and I think spending that time alone created such a sense of self that it strengthened the relationship I'm in now to a degree that's undescribable, because it really just gave me this kind of strength, I guess, but it's not really like the significance of like my inner strength, but it sort of is like this inner strength to not be needy of my partner, but to always be grateful for every moment that we have together.
Well, I must say, before I met my husband, I was in this, because I came from a couple of really bad relationships, and I was in a place of, you know what, if I don't get a relationship that really makes me happy, that's really something that brings me joy, I don't want it. I can be by myself. Like, I'm happy being by myself with my dogs. Like, I'm done. I'm okay. University, if you don't have someone who really can bring, like, someone who I can really be and have joy, because I don't want to be crying all the time. I don't want to be feeling like I need to, mother someone or being taking care of someone. And no. And when I get to that point is what I would say it was when I stopped being needy.
Yeah.
That things actually happened in a different way.
And let's just drill into that for a moment, because so many people, like you were saying, you talk to friends, but also a lot of people that come to these relationships done different classes, or, when we do stuff like this, a lot of the questions are centered around, how do I find the perfect man? Like, so do you want to talk just for a moment? And I can reflect on my story with this as well. Like, and you brushed on it then with the need thing, but do you remember when Mal came into your life and what happened? Like, how that was created?
It was all ease. That was like this feeling of just, like being home.
Yeah.
That's how it was. Like, I remember we met in a dinner with friends. It was a birthday dinner of a common friend. And we were just like, we were there. We started talking and we kept talking. I was laughing. I was like, because he's really funny. So, and from that day on, we've been together. Like, it started that day and we've been together, but everything was really ease.
Yeah. So it was that
there
energy.
Was no fight. There was no control. No, it was just ease, and it was very easy and very cool.
And I love that. And because, you got to that point where you're like, that's it, universe. It's kind of like someone that's going to actually be a contribution to my life, or like nada, like I'm happy to be alone. Do you get a sense?
I can have fun when I'm alone.
Me too. I love it. And it's so interesting because my relationship is very similar to yours. We spend a lot of time apart. My partner travels for work. He's home half of the month, every month, and then I travel for work. So sometimes we have, 3 weeks apart is kind of common for us throughout the year. And I enjoy being alone so much. Like I said, spending that year was such a strengthening and conditioning time for myself, because it really taught me that that's really important to actually have that. And Yeah. Yeah.
And
Very.
that's something that no one teaches us that. No
Nope.
one. And it can change everything.
Yeah. Well, I was the sort of the same. So I did that year or year and a half by myself, still having flings and having fun, but never anything serious, never like even dating anyone or anything. And then I was kind of like, I think I'm ready now, maybe to like, and so, because so often in the past, I sort of was like you. I looked at the pattern of the men that I was choosing in my relationships and was like, I think I also need to reevaluate the type of person that I'm like. So, when I felt ready, quote unquote, I was like, okay, 3 things. These are the only 3 things I'm asking for, and that is someone kind, caring, and nurturing to me. And like literally a few days later or something like that, I matched with my now partner on a dating app and we went out on a date. And he's listening in the background. It's very funny because he can hear what I'm saying right now, but it's nothing he doesn't know. But most women, because this is kind of why I wanted to bring up this subject as well. Because if you said to someone, like when you made the demand of the universe and of yourself, sort of like a demand of yourself and a request of the universe that it's either amazing or it's nothing. And for me, I was like kind, caring, and nurturing. Most people, when you say, well, what do you want in a man or in a relationship, they're going to be like 6 foot tall, earns this much money, blah, 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 blah. And our 2 things were like kind, caring, and nurturing. And, you had the energy of what you were looking for, which was this ease that you had instantly when you met your husband. And, when Hayden came into my life, he's quite a bit younger than me. Like there are certain things where I'm like, if it was in a situation where, I don't know, like we met, like it would have, it's funny how the things you think are important really aren't the things that are
That
important.
matter. Yeah. But
It's
it's
the
also
energy.
very funny because
Yeah.
you get to these conclusions of what is important based on
Other people.
yeah.
Yeah. And what people tell
And
you, or like
they
what your
think
friends
that's
are doing,
important
or
because someone else told them that was important. So
yeah.
sometimes I ask, I make this question like, what would happen if you were in the Blue Lagoon? Is that the title in English of the movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
What would happen? Like the same things would be important to you
Yeah.
if you have spent the last 20 years in an island all by yourself.
Yeah.
Would you have the same list
Yeah. Right.
of things you need in a man?
Yeah.
Who does this belong to, right?
Exactly. So
So
true.
yeah, what is it that really, and the title of this lives, are you really getting what you expect in your relationships? Like
Yeah.
what are your expectations and where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Are they coming from what you really want, from what really works for you, or from all these steps, requests that people think that you need to have in your life?
Yeah.
And then we have another one that's a big one that is children. Like, okay, now you're married, you found the one.
Where are my grandkids? Where are my like
Like that's the if this already happened, then the next natural step is to have a kid.
Yep.
No question asked.
Yeah.
Next step is a kid. And what if motherhood is a choice? Because it is.
Yep.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
And that's a choice that, for instance, for me, I just realized very recently, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, that even though that's my choice, I wasn't really feeling comfortable saying it out loud.
Uh-huh.
Because you are always judged when you say something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it interesting? Like the one thing that should, one of the big things that should really 100% be your choice, like it's really like one of those actually blindingly obvious things that is completely up to you, and obviously your partner as well. But I mean, especially for women, our bodies are the ones that, you know, grow the
Go
little
through everything. Yeah.
And like I
And
often think about it too, Liliana, because I've flipped on it a fair bit. I mean, I've chosen not to have children this lifetime either. And when I was younger, I did want kids, and it kind of changed over time. But because because I've had the tools to use to look at this and have choice as my choice, I look at women and the process they go to when they choose to have babies, and it's almost like it is like an automatic. Like I think for a lot of women, they don't realize they have the choice. It's like, I'm a woman, I'm married, I have a good partnership, we're set up so the next step for me is to create life, is to procreate. And it's like, it's almost like, I wonder how many women realize you actually have a choice here to look at this. And yeah.
no questions are asked. Like, just ask the question. Because if you choose to, it's great. Like, I think it's wonderful. It's like I'm not, I'm not avoiding it. I'm not defending it. Like, it's like, yeah, if it's your choice, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. Like, but that's the point. It's your choice.
Yeah.
And when you just go there automatically, just because you are already married or you are already in a couple, there's where what happens when you are not really questioning what you really want.
Yeah.
And all the pressure and because people are really expecting you to be a mother too.
Yeah.
Or to be parents if there are guys watching this. Like, people are really expecting that, the families, the friends, and it's a topic that somehow everyone thinks they have a right to.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like the most personal choice, really, for a couple and for a woman. Yeah. And it's hilarious as well, because like, using my mum as an example, there's 3 kids in our family, myself, my brother, and my sister. And you talk to her now that we're all grown up, and she's like, look, if I could have my time again, I wouldn't have had kids. Like, she literally had kids because she thought that was what she was meant to do. And it showed through our childhood, because you could tell it wasn't really something that she, like, you see the mums that really desire to be a mum and the way they are with their children. And then you see the mums that are like, I'm just doing this because I feel like I have to. And my mum was one of those, and that's fine as well. Like, we all turned out amazing. So, but it's so interesting as well when you talk to women, and my mum's like, I wouldn't have had you guys if I'd had my time over again. So like, what would it take? And what can we bring to the world to know, for people to know that they have choice with this? And
I have heard that many times, and it always, but it comes with so much guilt.
Yeah, that's true.
That's something that you are not allowed to say out loud either. That's something that it's better if you don't say it. Because then you are terrible, awful, evil, But it happens, and it happens more than we imagine. So, and I mean, the highlight here is it's all your choice.
Yeah.
And this phrase that we are repeating and hearing a lot in Access right now, choice is my reality.
Yeah.
And in relationships too, choice is your reality, and you can choose whatever you want to choose and go beyond what everyone is expecting from you, because people will always be expecting things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also your choice to not be in a relationship.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah.
Or to have a very different relationship, like totally possible. But you have to be in question, what do you really want? And to get to know you, and what would make you happy.
Yeah. And to know that with true choice comes unlimited possibilities as well. Like, even like, I love that you said then the relationship that you desire to have, and like a very different relationship, because even within that, growing up, I thought a relationship was this very, like, you have some variations and degrees of difference, but it's really this thing, like, and I can't even really put it into words, but you say relationship even in it. And what I've discovered now, and with the relationship I have now, is literally you can create it in any way you desire. And even with the kids thing, you know, like, maybe you want to contribute to children, but you don't want to have children. So, like, there's also so many kids out there that are growing up in pretty shitty shitty environments that end up in like foster care systems and stuff like that. Like, what if you were willing to, you know, foster a kid that had a pretty shitty start to life for a year or two to help them and give them some of these tools and impart some of this stuff. Like it's really like, once you acknowledge and realize that choice is actually available, and choice is your reality, you start to realize that then creates literally limitless possibilities with everything, but, you know, relationships in this instance.
It doesn't have to look like
anything.
They say, like, there's not really like anything. It can look like anything, like whatever you want.
Yeah.
In any colors and ways and forms that you want.
Yep. I think as long as you're being true to yourself and kind to the people around you, then really there's no limit.
Really be in question, like, and these, for instance, the 5 elements of intimacy, you know, like, if you have those 5 elements, what else do you know, like, there's something, this is a funny example, but what you are supposed to do when you get married, you know, you have this series of steps you have to do or to have, and one of those steps is a ring, right?
Yep.
I don't have a ring.
Yeah.
And I'm happily married. Like, I'm really, really happy.
I know.
I have a really good marriage, but we don't have and we are totally fine with it. And we've been recently talking about that. Like, is it time for us to buy to get rings? He hates rings, and he's like, I don't know if I'm going to wear it anyway, but shall we have? But we're in question, you know. But it's not this. You have to give me the ring, or otherwise I won't say yes. Like, you know.
Yeah. But how cool is that? Like, how many years have you guys been married for now?
8, and we've been together for 10 years.
Yeah, like 8 years into your marriage, you're like, oh, we could choose to start wearing rings if we wanted to. Do we want to? Oh, maybe not. Let's keep asking and seeing what shows up.
Totally relevant.
It's just so like, the choice factor. So cool.
So what's relevant for you? What's true for you?
Yeah.
And what is it that you are really looking for in a relationship, beyond all the expectations set by your family, by traditions, by the fairy tales and the movies, and by history, because the institution of marriage it's just something that was a cultural construct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make it your own. And if you could have your relationship with you and everyone around you in any way you pleased, how would that be? And what would you choose? Yeah, very cool.
How can you build your relationships in a different way?
Yes.
And keep choosing your happily ever after every single day.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much. This has been such a cool and fun conversation. And I'm so grateful for these lives. And just knowing that we have these tools available, and also offering them to people out there in the world if they choose to choose them. So thank you so much, my friend. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you for watching. Yeah. See you on the next one.
See you.
Mwah.